Imagine yourself walking into a bakery in the afternoon. You're hungry, you'd like a snack, you smell some delicious chocolate chip cookies, so you wander over to the cookie stand. There you discover that cookies are selling for $2 each. How many would you buy? Another scenario, the cookies are selling for 1 cent each. How many would you buy? And still a third scenario, the cookies are free. How many would you take? Economic theory tells us that the less the price for the cookies is, the more that you would buy. But is there something special about the price of zero? This is the question that Dan Airlie and some co-authors explored with a simple experiment. At MIT, they set out a stand. Some afternoons, they offered candies for 1 cent each. Other afternoons, they offered the candies for free. Then they measured how many students would stop by and take the candies. When the candies were offered for 1 cent, 58 students stopped by. When candies are free, 207 students stopped by. As expected, offering free candies far increased the number of students that were interested. But here comes the trick. When candies were offered for 1 cent, students on the average took 3.5 candies. When they were offered for free, they took 1.1 candy. Increasing the price from 0 to 1 cent triples the number of candies the students ended up getting. Weird, huh? Researchers explain this phenomenon with social norms. When the cookies are given away for free, the social norms are in place. You don't want to take too many because you're worried about the consequences. Will there be enough left for other people? You're also worried about what others might think about you. Are you greedy? Selfish? Then, in the other situation where you're paying even as little as a penny for a cookie, the market norms are in place. You are exchanging some money for a good so that you're willing to take more cookies. You feel like you get the catch of the day and you'll wind up buying many more cookies. You won't even think about the social consequences of your excessive consumption. People tend to value free products more than they would otherwise. For instance, say you were on your way to work one day and you noticed a line at the local Starbucks. The sign said free large coffee, which normally costs $3. How long would you be willing to wait in line for a free coffee? Even though, say, you had a job that paid you $60 an hour, would it be worth your precious time to wait for a free cup of coffee? To test whether people overvalue free products, Airlie and his co-authors designed another experiment. They went to an MIT cafeteria, and next to the cashier, they set up 2 bins of chocolate. One was Hershey's, one was Lindt truffles. They put a sign up that said only 1 chocolate per person. And then daily they would change the prices on these candies. Say one day Hershey's might be 1 cent and the Lindt was 14 cents. On another day, the Hershey was free and the Lindt was 13 cents. What would you expect to happen to the number of Lindts and Hershey's sold when the price dropped by 1 cent? Under standard economic theory, people who buy Hershey's in the first place would continue to buy Hershey's. People who buy Lindt in the first place would continue to buy Lindt. Some others who didn't buy any chocolate in the previous case might start buying it when the price drops. So the number of people who buy Hershey's or Lindts should increase. The results of this experiment painted quite a different picture. In the first case, 8% of the people bought Hershey's and 30% of the customers bought Lindt. When the prices dropped by 1 cent, 31% of the customers bought Hershey's, whereas 13% of the customers bought Lindt. A huge change in demand for such a small change in the price. With this experiment, the researchers showed that people do indeed overvalue free products. They behave as though the price of zero not only lowers the cost of the product, but also increases the value of it. There's an old Turkish and Russian proverb that says, free vinegar is sweeter than honey. But why do we see this behavior? The researchers argue this is what psychologists call affect. Affect has 2 components. Free things make people happier, and happiness affects people's decision-making abilities. In a couple of follow-up experiments, the researchers wanted to test this theory out. In the first experiment, people were to rate the attractiveness of free Hershey and Hershey priced at 1 cent. They also rated the attractiveness of Lindt priced at 13 cents and 14 cents. Free Hershey received the highest score by far, supporting the hypothesis that free products create happiness. In the second experiment, the researchers tried to mute this affective response by making the subjects carefully analyze the options. When the subjects were forced to think deliberately, the zero price effect indeed went away.
Didn't Chris do a fantastic job in really illustrating the importance of free? Let me ask you a question. If you were walking down the street, would you bend over to pick up a penny that was on the sidewalk? I don't think most people, I wouldn't, okay? But a single cent, a single penny can make a very important difference in the buying decision of your prospect, a penny. I thought she did a great job in illustrating it with the candies when she said that Dan Ariely, who went into much more detail, if this interests you, went into much more detail in his fantastic book, Predictably Irrational, makes the case that people just lose their minds when it comes to free. That they're totally irrational. They place a completely different level of emphasis on zero cost, on free. Chris illustrated the point by talking about one of his studies where they were in a busy hallway at MIT and they counted the number of people that were flowing through the hallway. Again, scientific experiment, double-blind test, everything is on a level playing field. And they found that 400% more people stopped to get a chocolate when it was free than would stop when it was 1 penny. Over the same period of time, if they had chocolates 1 penny, 58 students stopped to get themselves a little piece of chocolate. When it said chocolate is free, okay, 207 students stopped in the same period to get themselves a piece of chocolate. That's the number of students that stopped. Now, the 58 students that were forking out the cash, right, a penny for each piece of chocolate, on average bought 3.5 candies. The students that got the free chocolates, on average, picked up 1.1. What is that telling us? Social norms versus market norms. Market norms say, hey, if you're willing to sell chocolate for a penny and I buy it from you, then we're even. And I can buy as much of it as I choose. I can buy a quarter's with 25 chocolates for a quarter. And you should be happy with that. You're happy to sell chocolates for a penny. And I would be delighted with that. Everybody wins. Everybody's even. You owe me nothing at the end of the transaction. I owe you nothing at the end of the transaction. That's market norms. Free chocolate is a completely different thing. Didn't you ever as a child, go into your pediatrician or a dentist or the barber or the post office or bank and someone hand a dish to you and say, would you like a lollipop? And what happened immediately? As you're reaching for the lollipop, one of your parents said, only take one, because they knew you, right? And they were conditioning you with the law of reciprocity. You don't take from people that are charitable to you in excess. So with the free chocolates, 1.1 was taken. What does that tell us? That tells us that every one of the 207 of them got one, except for one sociopath, who ignored the laws of reciprocity and loaded up, more than likely, But virtually everybody took one. They took the same experiment in a different area. Let's move away from chocolate. She didn't talk about this one, but it's in the book, Predictably Irrational. It's a fantastic read. People just simply don't use rational logic when it comes to something with a zero cost. But they were working with Amazon gift cards, and a $20 gift card was marketed for $8. Pretty good deal, right? Or, you can only get one, a $10 gift card, $1. When they did that, the overwhelming majority said, give me the $20 card for $8. Pretty easy math, right? I bet you know where this is going. They then, the next day, sold $20 Amazon cards for $7. Even a better deal. Or a $10 gift card for free. What do you think happened? Virtually everybody, almost the overwhelming majority, took a free $10 card and didn't reach into their pocket for the $7 for the gift card. They thought, well, maybe it's just the issue of a transaction. Well, if it's free, I don't have to go through the hassle of paying. So then they went through the cafeteria line right at checkout where they knew that people were going to be reaching in to pay for their lunch. So they were going to have to reach in and pay anyway. And they set up the Lynn truffles that Chris talked to you about. A Lynn truffle is a delicacy and a real bargain at 14 cents. or a chocolate kiss for a penny. When they did that, they found that 79% chose the truffle and were glad to have it, and 21% chose the little Hershey Kiss. That's understandable, right? But what happened the next day when they discounted that truffle 1 penny? Again, you wouldn't stop on the street and pick up a penny if it was on the ground, would you? And they discounted also, simultaneously, the kiss 1 penny. So now it's what? Free. 0 cost. Then what happens? Well, now all of a sudden, 70.5% choose, drumroll, the kiss. 29.5 chose the truffle. A complete juxtaposition based on the altering of a price by a single cent. Both dropped by even 1 penny. She talked about Starbucks and how long would you wait in line for a free coffee. I thought that was an interesting point that she made. But Ben & Jerry's is famous for when they come out with a new flavor to offer free scoops of their new flavor at their stores. And they're famous for having lines all the way around the block for people that want to try out their new flavor and get a free scoop of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. If you look at the lines at Ben & Jerry's, you find they're oftentimes full of professionals, doctors and lawyers and accountants and teachers and insurance agents and various people that are standing in line for a substantial period of time for their free treat. How long would those very same people stand in a line waiting if at the end of their wait they were rewarded with $2.30, the cost of a scoop of ice cream? My guess is not very long. But it's the power of a free scoop of ice cream. Can you see that? Now, I loved her quote where she said that free vinegar is sweeter than honey. That free is more valued than even at an extremely modest price. And this is the power of what you're going to have in our Goodwill gift packages. You can offer coupons and discounts and 2-for-1s and all these other things, but nothing works like free. Nothing predictably irrational completely turns their head around than offering something at a 0 cost. I actually, myself, tried to mimic one of the stories in Predictably Irrational, Dan's book. Okay. And I got the exact same results. I love Halloween, and I have a home that gets pounded with trick-or-treaters. And so it was the perfect place to try it. I'd read the study, of course. And so as trick-or-treaters showed up at the house, I had all the children hold out their hands, and I asked them to continue to keep your hand held out there, and I put 5 chocolate kisses in their hand. I said, hold it out there, okay. And then I gave them a choice, and I said, you could have a 7-ounce Snicker bar if you'll trade it for 1 of your little kisses. Those kisses are about 1 ounce. So I'm like, trade 1 ounce for 7, right? Or give me 2 kisses back, and I'll give you a big, huge 14-ounce Snickers bar. Now, children are pretty good horse traders, especially as it comes to a precious commodity like chocolate. Right? So they all made the quick and easy decision, give me the big bar, here's 2 Hershey's back. I'll take 14 ounces and what probably is a more tasty treat, more tasty chocolate than the little bitty Hershey Kisses. Just probably what you would expect. But you're probably reading between the lines here. What happened next? Okay, next group comes up and we meticulously kept track. Here's 5 Hershey Kisses, and we put them right there. Hold your hand up there. Don't put it away. Okay, if you put it away, you're going to miss an opportunity. Okay, so they're holding up the 5 kisses, and we say, okay, you can have this great big 14-ounce Snickers bar if you'll give me 1 Hershey's Kiss, or I'll just give you a smaller 7-ounce Hershey bar, and you can keep all 5. You don't have to give me any of your existing kisses. I bet you're already guessing what they're doing. Virtually nobody took. I ended up having big 14-ounce Snicker bars for months in the house. I couldn't give them away because nobody wanted the big Snicker bar if it had to cost one kiss if they could get a smaller one for free. Everybody wanted the big Snickers bar if they could buy it for two if the smaller bar was one. So in summation, what's the lesson in all of this? The lesson is, in Predictably Irrational, they really hit this like you'd kill a fly with a sledgehammer. People love free. Free simply makes people happier. What else? Free is a substantially lower cost than 1 penny. 1 penny to 2 penny is an insignificant difference. A nickel to a dime, insignificant difference. But a nickel to free, a 1 penny to free, is a substantial difference. What, 400% in the number of people that stop to buy chocolates, right? We also found that when you buy for a penny chocolates, you're in the market norms. And I thought Chris did an excellent job in explaining this. Under market norms, I've got a pretty good deal here, but I've made a transaction. I'm paying the fee you ask for your chocolate. We are even. I got some chocolate. You got just a very little bit of money. Everybody got what they were looking for. We're even. So the value of our goodwill gift packages are that you can lock down psychologically this resident, this potential prospect that we've lured into your business for peanuts at a price you can't achieve any other way from a marketing and advertising standpoint. We brought them there with excitement versus walking in nonchalant or even-handed in terms of the emotions of coming in to trade with you. They're coming in with some enthusiasm. I've got a gift to redeem, okay? And we've created a connection between you and that resident that can't be achieved any other way other than you participating in your chamber program. And then Chris tells us, right, that this is irrational, that you would be reticent about buying something for 1 penny that you'd buy, that you take in droves for free for a penny. Again, you wouldn't stop on the street to pick up a single penny. So when they held the participant to the fire, they said, think about this for a second. You'll buy a truffle for 14 cents when the Hershey's Kiss is a 1 cent. But you won't buy that same truffle for 13 when the Hershey's is only reduced by a penny. You'd pay 13 cents more in one scenario, but not in the other. What gives? And when that hit, that predictably irrational, the irrational aspects of free were challenged. They went, well, I guess that doesn't make any sense. Give me the truffle for 13 cents. In other words, the appeal of the free went away when you actually magnified that, when you illuminated that for the prospect. But generally speaking, if it's free, they're going to get 4 times the number of responses. They're going to be more enthusiastic. They're going to pay more value to the gift than they would if they paid for it because it's a gift. They're going to have a social obligation to you to reciprocate in the form of referrals and in future business. And they're going to be substantially happier about trading with you, substantially more excited about the fact that you sent them a gift on their special occasion.